Hey people, Dan Larson here. Today a very exciting thing happened, a new Serum update being just released, and it contains several very exciting features. Now let's jump into it and let's check the features. The first thing that I want to show you guys is the screen filter. So if you go to miscellaneous, you can see 4 different filter types. Now this may be familiar for you from the Synth Massive, because it contained a filter screen filter, which I think everybody liked. And actually that was the filter which I would say created a new style. I'm not saying this created dubstep or any other bass heavy music styles, but this was a very big influence on these styles, on these dubstep and drum bass and other styles to grow up these screen filters, which has a very nice unique sound by feedbacking the signal to itself. Now at last, Serum contains a filter type, and actually it contains 4 different screen filters. So I experienced with it a little and I made this sound. So this is that classic massive sound. Now without the screen filter it sounds like this. It's a very boring sound. So we can state that the screen filter gives that very nice, crunchy, distorted kind of sound to it. So cool. So let me initialize this preset and show you how it works. So let's take this saw wave. Let's add some unison and let's choose the Scream 2 LP. So these are 4 different filter types. There is a Scream 1 low pass, a Scream 1 band pass, and Scream 2 low pass, Scream 2 band pass. What I experienced is Scream 2 filter types are a little more drastic. You know, it generates a little drasticer sound. I would say a drasticer feedback or a drasticer distortion kind of feel to it. So I will stick to the second one, and especially with the low band. So I would say the band pass is a nice thing to do, but for heavy basses, I think the low pass can work a little better because you don't want to filter out the low one. But never mind, you will spend lots of time experimenting with these filters. But for me, the Scream 2 LP generated that sound that I'm really after. So let me choose that. And to hear the effect, I would say a little better, let's add the compressor and the distortion, so crank up the tube to around the maximum. Now if we start playing with the cutoff, you can hear that basically it just filters the sound. But if I play with the scream, and especially if I crank up the resonance, we get that very nice screamy sound. And if I crank up the drive, it really gets alive. How cool is that?
Hey, I bet you want to hear this. If you want to learn how to make this huge track, click the link in the description for the most violent and brutal dubstep course, only available at Letsynthesize Academy.
Let me try it with the low pass, not the low pass, but the band pass. Maybe it can be interesting by using an LFO on the cutoff and on the scream. You know, I'm still experimenting with this. Now let's see the first one, Scream 1 LP. It's just not that drastic. The same with the bandpass. But it definitely generates some nice sound. Okay, so this is the filter. Go ahead and experiment with it. Now, one thing to mention, this build is only in beta, so be careful with that. Actually, I took the risk to try this out and show you guys, but I don't know if I want to use it for serious works, but I think we can trust it. On the forum, on Xverse side, people say that it is pretty stable, but I just ran into a freeze, so be careful with that. Okay, so the screen filters. The next thing is the Unison Memory. Let me initialize the preset. Oh, not load preset, but initialize the preset. So if you crank up the Unison voices to about 8, you have this very nice sound. But if you crank back the phase and the random, you have this lasery sound because every Unison voice starts from this very point, and they are phasing, so they are phase killing each other and creating this phasey, flangy kind of sound. There is another feature implemented in this build. If you crank up the phase to maximum and the random to maximum, you can stop the actual position, or you can freeze the actual position of the Unison voices. This is very good because, for example, if you choose this phase and crank up the random to maximum, the positions of every Unison voices will just randomly go back and forth as these little lines represent these little lines. Now, if you find a sound, a Unison position that you are really satisfied with, just crank up the random to the maximum and it will freeze. So it will store the position of the voices, the Unison voices, and it is very, very nice thing. So on every note, it will sound the same basically, but not with that phasery, sweepy, lasery kind of sound when we crank back to 0 the phase and the random, but in a very smart way. So you can hear this already changes because I just moved the phase and even the random. On every hit it sounds a little different, but if I crank up the random and the phase at the same time, it doesn't matter what I do, it will always sound the same. Now this is a very nice thing again to create a static sound. There are hundreds of cases when this thing can be handy. The third thing that I want to talk about is a direct out on the noise filter, which, as you can know from the sub direct out, it will just skip every effect, every filter, every compressor and everything. It just goes directly out from the synthesizer. So let's say I'm using a very heavy filter on the synths and everything. Let's not use the sub. The noise will still go out untouched, which was actually impossible before that. This is a very simple but very effective feature now. Let me initialize the preset again. And a very nice thing, fourth thing. Now, this build contains a lot more, but I would say these are the most exciting feature in Serum, this build. And the fourth thing that I'm very excited for is the hybridizing preset feature in Serum. So for that, let me open a preset. This is the sound. Okay, if I go to the browser, there is a Hybridize from visible list. So what it does is take several parts from other presets from this list, and combines the recent one with those presets. So it will generate a very new sound from basically scratch, or not scratch, but it will just generate you a random sound, which is, I would say, very exciting. So let me try that. Click on Hybridize from visible list. Okay, this is pretty useless now. Let's click on again. Well, this is an exciting sound. Okay, so you can see what it does basically. As I told you before, it combines several stuff from other presets with this preset that we just opened. So it is a very, very nice way to create something new if you are uninspired, or if you just were not able to come up with any usable sound. So Serum will help you in this from this build. So these were the most exciting features in this new build. So if you want it, just go to the expert forum and download it and experiment with that. This new screen filter is, I would say it's very cool. Okay, so I was Larson, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.